Right, well this is it. This is the last day of the Austin 7 Centenary, and I'm expecting that this is going to be the highlight in terms of the sheer volume and numbers of cars. When I went yesterday, which was Friday, there were an awful lot of 7s on the ground already. But of course, what it doesn't take into account is the fact that a lot of people weren't going to get there until the Saturday anyway. And also, there were a lot out and about on the road. You know, people have gone there with the car, and they're doing the various routes around the places in the Cotswold. Everywhere I went, I saw 7s on the road. So there were already probably half as many again there, but not on the site, if you like. And also they're scattered around the site at the moment in bits of shade and like Primrose and in other areas. What they're doing today, I believe, is to move everything into blocks based on type and year, all parked up together, so that you've got effectively all of the 7s in one field. So we'll get over there. It's 9:15 in the morning. Make a relatively early start, and the only real thing I need to do now, apart from wanting to go and see them, the only thing I haven't done is to catch up with Gavin, which I'm hoping I will do today. So once again, the 7s were just rolling in all the while, and the camp area had taken on the look of a small village now, actually, with the amount of cars that were there. And they've started to lay the things out into sections now. On the right are all the specials, the main car park and field, where 7s from 1920s through to about 1935, something like that. And then further over there were the rubies, which were the further development of the 7, the big 7s. The vans were all parked in one area at the top, and that's quite a rare thing to see, and certainly not so many at a time. Some of the special bodies on the 7s, the specials that were built and sold. And in particular the 7s that were rebodied by Swallow sidecars, which later went on to become Jaguar over in Coventry. It's basically where they started, from motorcycle sidecars through to special bodies on Austin 7s, and then on to cars. Single-seater racers, replicas, and historical sort of Austin 7 racing cars that had built around the time, using the components to develop sports cars. Again, some of the famous names, McLaren, Colin Chapman from Lotus, all basically started with Austin 7s. And the main field itself really started by this time to get wall-to-wall Austin 7s. I went back to the auto jumble. I wanted to pick up a pair of old Austin 7 side lights to use as mirrors on my cycle cart, so I would at least have a little bit of Austin 7 DNA in the mix. So I picked a couple of old ratty shells up for about £10. It's interesting to see some of the cars under restoration. This has had a completely full frame restoration, retaining all of the original aluminium on the outside. The lady who's been building it for years. This one had just done a Peking to Paris run. There's 2 or 3 of the cars have done that journey, and just shows how they still keep going even after all 100 years or so. Apart from one of the specials that's kicking up a little bit of a smoke screen down the bottom. And then I had another of those spooky occasions when we had somebody come up to me who knew me. Yeah, small kid. One of the owners of one of the big 7s. These were the last iteration of the Austin 7, if you like. Like most things in cars, they'd got bigger and bigger and bigger over the years. These had grown up to I think it's nearly a litre engine with a lot more weight on them. But there's still a few of those surviving as well, and this guy was one of the subscribers who owns one of the cars. I'm pretty certain, and I'm sure he'll forgive me if I'm wrong, that it's this blue one here that he owns. It come up from Essex for the week, and it was great to meet up with subscribers again. It's always pleasant to meet people. Then it was time to go and catch up with Gavin, who is Primrose's current owner, and we had a nice long chat about cars and Austin 7s in particular.
So she then says, "Oh, there was a gentleman here just now, he's looking over your little car, and he was getting quite emotional because it was a car that he knew, and said his dad had built it and he'd learned to drive it." And I said, "What was his name?" She said, "I don't know." I said, "I think it might be Peter Lloyd." So she said, "Oh, I don't know." I said, "But if it is..."
Yes, you got the right wheels on.
But I learnt that I had to take the Girlings and get them skimmed.
It was, yes, I mean, this is the whole thing. What I think...
So she's near enough to what it is. So it's got a little bit of your dad.
Yeah.
And I wondered when you sort of thought, you're probably quite emotional. I don't think it's ever had a reef spray. I think that is what your dad did.
No, it had no carpet in it. Oh, no. Or the gator. It had no side screens until I put them together in about 1970, so I ran it for 3 or 4 years without side screens.
Are down there, and I've just had them done by Gail, she was Gail Hodgson.
I suspect
It's a mongrel with the
these things were just literally going into scrapyards because they were worth nothing.
Exactly. And that's what
and so Dad grabbed it out of a scrapyard to make it for effectively for a daily driver for my mum.
I got it wrong. I thought because Dad had the Roots, because I've been saying to folk, because your dad had the Roots dealership.
No.
Somebody come into trade in the car
No.
would have gone to scrapyard. He said, I'll keep this and restore it.
No.
It wasn't a trade in. I mean, in Rhodesia then, old cars were like, we didn't get new vehicles. So somebody buying a Morris Minor, who'd had a Morris Minor in the 50s, and wanted to.
So after a pretty fantastic week, it was time to finally say goodbye to Primrose and wish her well on her way back to Scotland, up to the Isle of Skye, and who knows, maybe we'll meet again. And it was interesting when I got back to the car park. Parked in front of me was a new Hyundai, which is I think one of the few electric cars other than Tesla's that's been designed up from the ground up as an electric car. And I couldn't help but wonder whether in 100 years time, whether people would have still be collecting them and preserving them and repairing them, and B, whether or not what cars will look like in 100 years time. So there we are. Goodbye to the Fire Services College. Goodbye to Primrose. And goodbye to all the Austin 7s. It's been one hell of a week as far as I'm concerned. I'm physically and mentally exhausted, I think. So hopefully you won't be seeing any Austin 7s again for a bit. It's not to say you won't see any in the future, but for a while you won't. It's been a fantastic week, it's been a fantastic day again. I got to meet and spend a bit of time with Gavin, who owns Primrose now, and had a long chat with him, put him in the picture on a few bits of history on the car as well, so hopefully that was of interest to him as well as knowing to me what's happened to it since. So that's it really. I hope you enjoyed the video. I look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll try and be doing something different for a change now. See you then. Bye.